Your body cam footage shows that you shut off your camera prior to your interview with the owner's daughter, and that it did not capture her account of what was stolen. Would that be accurate?
I have no idea. Whatever's on my body cam is what's on my body cam. I don't remember turning it off.
Now, department policy requires that you record all your interactions with members of the community, doesn't it?
It requires that you record when you are on a call for service and interacting with the public.
And you were on call for service when you interviewed the owner's daughter?
When I was on scene, I was on a call for service. Yes, sir.
Why didn't you record that interview?
I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't say whether I did or did not.
Do you know if that interview has been produced to me and to Joy Phillips?
I have no idea.
Did you receive any reprimand for violating policy 442 or 422 by not recording your interview with the owner's daughter?
I'm going to object at this point. This is totally irrelevant to the charging letter and whether or not Joy lied.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, sir.
Fraction of your life to wander free. But losing everything is like the sun going down on me. Don't let the sun go down on me. Although I search myself, there's always someone else I see. I just allow a fragment of your life to wander free. But losing everything is like the sun going down on me.
First witness.
I call Michael VanScoik.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Can you state your name and title?
My name is Michael VanScoik. I'm a sergeant with the Elkhart Police Department.
And on July 12th, what was your title?
I was a patrolman or a corporal for the patrol division.
And do you recall the events of July 12th?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe those from your recollection?
Yes, ma'am. I was working on the patrol division. I was heading to a call. It was shortly after a briefing at 3 o'clock, sometime between 3 and 4. I was driving down Beardsley Avenue. We had a burglary at the 1125 West Beardsley, so I was driving by there to make sure that further crime hadn't happened when I noticed a vehicle backed up to one of their doors. The trunk was open and one of the doors was open. I called the reporting party. It was the daughter of the owner of the building. I asked her if that vehicle was allowed to be there or if those people were allowed to be there. She said that no one was supposed to be there and she did not recognize that vehicle. By the time I turned around and got back, the vehicle was gone and I realized a crime had occurred and I began to investigate.
And can you tell us how it is that you had the information to contact the owner's daughter?
That was not the first time we had dealt with them when it came to investigating a burglary. There had been at least 1 or 2 burglaries prior to that day, July 12th, within a week or 2 prior to that.
And when you arrived to the scene, did the owner's daughter arrive shortly thereafter?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she tell you a story about what she had just witnessed?
She advised that she had made contact with some people in a vehicle, the gold Cadillac, that was similar to what I saw at the scene prior to my arrival. She had stated something about speaking to one of them before they fled the scene, I believe southbound.
Did you at some point become aware of allegations made against you by Detective Joy Phillips?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what has been marked as Chiefs 2. Do you recognize it?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And can you tell us what it is?
It looks like a letter, just an amended notice of charges and then a hearing date and rights. Has some excerpts from other letters as well as some, looks like quotes.
Okay. And can you read Roman numeral paragraph 5 of the chief's charging letter?
What page would that be on?
Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Starting with you made statements that Officer VanScoik? Sure.
That says, you made statements that Officer VanScoik forced open a locked door, then wrote in his report that he observed the door open. Your statements implied that Officer VanScoik had committed a Fourth Amendment violation and was dishonest in his police report.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as Chief's Exhibit 3I. If IT could play that for us, please. And it's not up. We need it to come up.
I was also able to observe that an APD officer, an Elkhart police officer, forced the door open to the in front of a ranking member of our department. The door wasn't forced open by somebody else. It was forced open by one of our officers.
And do you recognize this?
To observe.
Yes, ma'am, that is a clip from the excerpt I read as well.
And can you tell us what that video is of?
That was of Detective Phillips stating that I forced a door open on that call on July 12th.
Okay, and I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 8. Do you recognize it?
This I have not read.
Can you please turn to page 3 and read for us the highlighted paragraph there?
Does it begin with "at the captain"?
Yes.
Sure. At the Captain Review Board, I provided the board with a completed investigation containing body, interview room, in-car camera footage, reports and photographs showing that I was innocent of the allegations filed against me. Additionally, I provided the following: video of an Elkhart police officer forcing a secure door open at B's 3, then citing in his report that he observed the door open, Exhibit B.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 5. Can you turn to page 9? Can you read the highlighted paragraph for us?
Yes, ma'am. VanScoik is shown on his body camera and Lieutenant Snyder's body camera at the green door on the southeast side of the building, forcing the door open and advising that it is locked prior to forcing it open. In his report, he advises that this door is partially open and takes photos of the door, giving the illusion that the door was open.
What do you understand Detective Phillips to be accusing you of?
She's accusing me of lying in my report, of falsifying a crime that didn't occur, and of forcing a door open instead of doing what I was doing, investigating.
Does she say the door was open or locked?
In this, it says locked in the highlighted portion.
And what are the implications of forcing a locked door open?
That would be a crime if you were forcing somebody's door open.
Would you describe these as minor allegations?
No, ma'am.
Are these potentially career-ending violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you attempting to enter the B's? Why were you attempting to enter the B's 3 building?
When a crime has occurred, we want to make sure that there are no other perpetrators on scene so that as we go through the building or the victim goes through to see what's missing, that they are safe and that the community is safe. So we do a protective sweep of the building, and that's what I was trying to do.
Is this typically done after a suspected burglary?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And is this a benefit to the owner?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Was the owner's representative, the owner's daughter, present at the time?
She was present on scene for part of the investigation.
And were you and the owner on the owner's daughter on pretty familiar terms with each other?
Yes, ma'am. We knew each other. I had just dealt with her within that past week on a previous burglary investigation. So her and I were familiar with each other.
And did you inform the owner's daughter you were going to check the building?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And did she object?
No, ma'am. We were only able to access part of the building. We actually had keys that she gave to us to check the other part of the building because we couldn't get through to it.
And have you had occasion to view your body camera footage from July 12th since then?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And would you recognize it if I played it for you?
Yes, ma'am, I would.
At this time, I would like to play Chief's Exhibit 14. I'm going to be playing clips of this body camera image, of this body camera exhibit, of Exhibit 14. There'll be 14A, 14C, and 14D. Have you had occasion to view the clips at this time?
Yes, ma'am, I've seen the clips.
And are the clips true and accurate representations of your body camera footage?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play Chief's Exhibit 14A.
Okay. Like I said, we're gonna check the building real quick, and then I'll come back and get you. But if you when she leaves, just pull over to the side by that guardrail. All right, no problem. Thank you, ma'am.
Could you just pause it for a second?
Appreciate it.
Okay, what just happened there?
I'm on scene of the burglary, getting ready to investigate. I have not been through the building yet. If I'm not mistaken, the victim's representative, the daughter, is there. And then my backup officer, who's going to assist me in searching, doing a protective sweep of the building, is arriving.
And what did you just tell her?
I didn't want her going near the building in case there was somebody else inside or there was still a threat. So I told her to wait out by the streets until we made sure that the scene was safe.
Did you tell her you were going to check the building?
I believe so. I wasn't.
If we could replay that portion. Yes, please.
Okay. Like I said, we're gonna check the building real quick, and then I'll come back and get you. But if you when she leaves, just pull over to the side by that guardrail. All right, no problem. Thank you, ma'am.
If you could pause it one more time. Is it fair to say that she gave you consent to search the building at that moment?
She knew we were there to do a protective sweep, and I advised her I was gonna check the building, and she did not object.
Thank you. If you could play the rest of it at this time.
I appreciate it. So you know how we've had a bunch of burglaries out here? I drove by, I was going to another call, saw a yellow gold Cadillac, and that door opened. So I call her, and I'm like, hey, is anybody supposed to be there? Do you know anybody in a gold Cadillac? She's like, no. Well, I was already at Napanee and Beardsley, so I flipped around. I came back gone. Next thing I know, the PI. Oh, yeah. So I just want to make sure nobody's in here. I doubt anybody is. But. Yeah. And then there's a bunch of stuff right inside the door here.
You can't force the first door. Yeah. It's just don't hurt yourself.
It's not locked. Maybe it is locked. I don't want to. I'm not hitting that.
No, if anything. Is it latched?
No, this has been broken since the last time I was here. I don't know.
So I think it might still be latched. You say it's unlocked?
It should be. Yeah, this is.
There now, of course. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Elkhart 446, myself, and 358, hand 75. No need for one. This building's huge, by the way. Elkhart PD!
Can you tell us whether or not that door was locked or jammed?
The door was jammed. The door handle was movable and opened or twisted. The plexiglass was broken, and the door for the top of the door was askew, which was causing it to be jammed, which is why I had to apply force to get the door to open.
Have you had occasion to watch Lieutenant Snyder's body camera video on July 12th?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And would you recognize it if you saw it?
Yes, ma'am, I would.
I'm going to play for you what has been marked as Chief's Exhibit 16.
You know how we've had a bunch of burglaries out here? I drove by, was going to another call, saw a yellow gold Cadillac, and that door opened. So I called,
no kidding?
I called her, and I'm like, hey, is anybody supposed to be there? Do you know anybody in gold Cadillac? She's like, no. Well, I was already at Napanee and Beardsley, so I hooked around. I came back gone. Next thing I know, the PI.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure nobody's in here. I doubt anybody is. And then there's a bunch of stuff right inside the door.
You can't force the door. Just don't hurt yourself.
It's not locked. Maybe it is locked. I'm not hitting that.
No, if anything. Is it latched?
This has been broken since the last time I was here. I don't know.
So I think it might still be latched. You say it's unlocked?
It should be. Yeah, this is.
There now, of course.
Okay, so can you tell us what we're looking at here?
This is the green door on the southeast side of the building where we made entry. This is where we found the broken plexiglass, as you can see, as well as the top deadbolt is damaged. And then you can see the top of the frame there doesn't sit flush with the frame. That's the part of the door that was damaged from the burglary, and that's why it was jammed, and I had to apply force to get it to open so we could complete the protective sweep.
Okay, and if we could just watch the next couple of seconds, then pause again.
Yeah.
Great, and you can play the rest of the video.
There you go. Elkhart 446, myself, and 358, hand 75. No need for one.
Okay. And is the building that you and Travis Snyder just entered connected to another building?
Yes, ma'am. There are several parts to the building. We were entering into the garage. There was a back area to that, as well as there's a bar out front, kind of a clubhouse for like a motorcycle type thing, and that has access through the front on the north side of the building.
And how are the two areas connected?
There's a drywall that actually was damaged from the previous burglary. That is how they got some of the stuff out. We were able to clear the back garage. We went to that point where that drywall was broken out, determined it wasn't safe for us to crawl through that hole. So that's when we exited out, went out the front, got the key from the daughter, and were able to go in the front of the building and check the rest of it.
I'm going to play for you Chief's Exhibit 14C.
Piece of plywood. This is how they got in last time. This is exactly how it looked last time, so they likely didn't. But all the stuff that's by that back door is from in here.
That's where you are, Carmen.
She can get us in the front. That gets us to this room. If you want to go that way, but like I said, I doubt there's anybody in here.
We should probably
Make
at least
sure.
have her walk through.
Okay.
Because you know how there's clubs up at the front?
Yep.
There's a club sitting by the back, or the
Yep.
would be the front.
Yep. That's where all that stuff came from, was in that one, is in the bar part of it.
Oh, yeah, they definitely get through here because there's fresh
Are there?
stuff marked like that. Okay.
492 officer.
And do you recognize what we just watched?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And can you tell us what that was?
That was us in the back room, the garage portion, trying to check to make sure the front of the building is clear and realizing we couldn't climb over that drywall portion that was knocked out from a previous burglary. You can hear Lieutenant Snyder saying that it appears that there's been fresh things moved and fresh prints indicating that a crime had occurred, which is what we're investigating.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 14D.
And that other part.
No shots.
They took a sword last time. You got keys to the front? Can I have them? They took out. They took a bunch of alcohol too.
Think they in?
Yeah, it's in the butt. I mean, it's still in there.
Oh, it's.
Do you mind?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
That's been in there.
That was empty. So the first time I went through here, the very first burglary I took, there were like 9 empty gun boxes. So in my head, I'm like, oh man, they stole a bunch of guns. But he has them all at his house. Sounds like he's hurt.
Let's go right to the bar and then left here real quick. Couple of rooms this way.
Elkhart Police. Coming out.
Okay. Joy's, Detective Phillips' allegations imply that you have lied in your police. You know what? Can you tell us what we just watched? Let's deal with that first.
That's us going in to access the other side of the building that we couldn't get to in that first video. As you can see, we get the keys from the daughter, unlock the door, and then we finish that protective sweep of the other side of the building just to make sure nobody was in there and that everything was safe.
Did Ms. Phillips' allegations imply that you lied in your police report?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Did you lie in your police report?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Can you think of any reason why Detective Phillips would make up these allegations?
No, ma'am, I have no idea.
Pass the witness.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, officer. I believe you testified a few minutes ago that you forced the door open.
I had to apply force, yes, sir.
So Joy Phillips' statement that you forced the door is correct.
I had to apply force to open the door, sir.
So if Joy Phillips stated that you forced the door, that would be a truthful statement, wouldn't it?
I stated I had to apply force to open the door, sir.
That's not the question I asked you, officer. I asked you if Joy Phillips said that you used force, that would be a correct statement.
I applied force to open the door.
So you're not going to answer the question.
I am answering your question.
You were there with another officer, Officer Snyder?
Yes, sir.
Okay. While he was watching you force the door, he said, "Is it locked?" Didn't he?
Correct.
So Officer Snyder thought the door was locked, didn't he?
You'd have to ask him. He was asking me if I thought it was.
Well, he said it was locked, didn't he?
You'd have to ask him, sir.
Then you had a discussion about whether the door was locked or latched, didn't you?
It's on body cam.
Okay. But I'm asking you, sir.
He asked if it was latched. Yes, he did ask if it was latched.
So The two of you were not certain whether the door was locked or latched.
It had been damaged, and we were trying to assess how to get in, yes, sir.
So it was not entirely clear whether the door had been locked or latched.
It was jammed, so we had to unjam it to check to make sure it was safe.
That's the conclusion you eventually reached.
Correct.
Okay, but at the time, you were not certain whether the door was locked or latched.
The handle moved freely. It was not locked. The door handle was not locked. It moved freely. And the top part where the deadbolt is was jammed because it was askew, so it wasn't locked that way, if that's what you're asking.
But at the time, you had a discussion with Officer Snyder about whether it was locked or latched.
Yes, sir.
Officer, did you determine whether the door that you forced open was the burglar's point of entry at 1125 Beardsley?
That's what it indicated, but I didn't determine that 1,000%. No, sir.
So you don't know that that's where they got in?
No, sir, I don't.
Were you able to see any damage to the front door when you drove by the property?
The side door that we were standing at in the body cam video?
Yes, sir.
I don't remember seeing that from driving by, no, sir.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Now, when you drove by, you didn't see, you saw a vehicle in the parking lot, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I saw a gold Cadillac backed up to the overhead door.
All right. But you didn't see anyone in the gold Cadillac?
I did not see any people in the Cadillac or in the building.
Okay. You didn't see any people around the gold Cadillac?
Correct, sir. I didn't see anybody.
Okay. But then you, a moment later, you turned around and you drove back to 1125 Beardsley.
Correct.
Okay. And at that point, the gold Cadillac was gone, right?
That is correct, sir. I did not see it where I initially had.
You didn't see any people where the car had been?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Ms. Smith told, the owner's daughter, told you that there were two occupants of the Cadillac, didn't she?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to object at this point. This is outside the scope of direct.
You can answer the question, Sergeant.
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Did the owner's daughter tell you what the occupants of the vehicle looked like?
She did provide a description. It's in my report.
Now, Ms. Smith never told you she saw the occupants of the car in the building, did she?
I don't believe she said that. No, no, sir.
And you never saw them in the building?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, in fact, she stated that when she saw them, he was pulling out from the alley and dude came out from behind the trailer and they tried to say they were coming from the house and I was like, I just saw you coming off my property.
That is what she said, yes, sir.
Now, by this time, you had already observed forced entry into the building.
Correct.
Where was the forced entry?
That green door next to the overhead door where the plexiglass was broken and the door was askew.
Not the one you opened?
No, the one I opened was where I saw the forced entry.
Is there a trailer located near the damaged door?
I don't recall. There are trailers on the property. I don't remember if there was one next to where we made entry at.
At any time in your body camera, in the video that we just saw, did you state that you observed the trunk of the Cadillac open?
I believe I did, sir, when I drove by.
Would it surprise you if there is no mention from you or Sergeant Young in the body cameras of the trunk is open?
I remember documenting that in my narrative of my report, that I saw the trunk open when I drove by.
But it's not in the body cam footage, is it?
You'd have to check it. I don't know, sir. I don't recall.
Now, Sergeant Young never stated that the trunk was open either, did he?
I have no idea what Sergeant Young stated, sir.
Do you believe that the information, such as the building door being open with a vehicle backed up to the building and the trunk of the vehicle being open, are important pieces of information?
Absolutely.
But you didn't relay these facts to Detective Phillips, did you?
I never spoke to Detective Phillips, sir.
Did you ever tell Lieutenant Snyder that the trunk was open?
I don't recall if I mentioned that specifically to him or not.
Now, on the body camera, does Amanda Smith state that the white male was carrying 2 bags of tools and that she didn't know where the tools came from?
I have no idea if that's what she said on body camera.
Did you state that the tools probably came from here, meaning 1125 Beardsley?
I had said that there were some things missing. I don't remember if it was specifically tools or not.
At that point, you hadn't conducted a walkthrough of the building yet, have you?
Not with the victim and not after the protective sweep. I had been in that building several times on my own. Like I said, about a week before that, so I recognized if things were moved from the last time I was out there, but I had not been through with the victim yet. Correct.
So you hadn't had the opportunity to document anything that was stolen or damaged?
Not at that point, no, sir.
Did you notify other officers that a victim reported that tools were missing?
I'm going to object again and just renew my objection. If we're talking about the charges which are discussing the door and the allegation Joy Phillips made about the door, this is way outside the scope of that.
Overruled. You may answer.
Officer, did you notify other officers that the victim reported that tools were missing from the building?
I could have. I don't specifically recall if I did.
Had you verified that tools were missing?
I did a walkthrough with the victim's daughter, reporting party is what we would call her. I did a walkthrough with her so she could identify the missing items.
On your body camera, you capture Ms. Smith carrying on a phone conversation in which she states into the phone, "They broke into the bar again." Sir, where is the bar in relation to the damaged door?
The damaged door was on the garage on the southeast side. The bar would be on the north side of the building. If you recall the video, that was the part I used the key for. That's where the bar is at.
Okay. Sir, do you recall that last week I took your deposition?
Yes, sir.
Right. Do you recall in your deposition that you testified after reviewing your report that there had been a metal skull, a bottle of Jim Beam, and signed sports memorabilia stolen from the bar?
That was in my narrative for my report, yes, sir.
And you told me that in your deposition?
I believe so.
Do you also recall stating that, testifying that other items had been missing, but that Ms. Smith did not know what they were?
That is correct. In my report, I documented that she said other things were missing, but she was unsure of what was missing.
How could she know that something was missing if she didn't know what it was?
You would have to ask Ms. Smith.
In your deposition, you testified that the new damage to the door was damaged plexiglass. Is that correct?
I also, if you notice on my body cam, I said that about the deadbolt as well.
Now, the plexiglass wasn't knocked out. It was just cracked.
It had a hole in it, and it was cracked. That was not done prior to me being there that day, from the last time I was out there taking a burglary report.
Did you also state that the plexiglass had been broken into pieces and that a person could have climbed through it?
I don't recall stating that or not stating that.
Did you report that the damage door to the doors, specifically the plexiglass, was the new damage and that was the forced entry to the building?
I remember stating that the plexiglass in that door was new damage and could likely be a point of entry.
Did you report that you did not observe any new damage to any window?
I don't remember saying that or not saying that.
Did you report that at no time did you see foam removed from any window and state that you don't know where that would even have come into play?
In my deposition?
No, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Yes, in your deposition testimony.
I did say that in my deposition. That is correct.
Okay. Did you report that the door was partially open?
Yes, if you read my narrative and watch the body cam, you'll see that that is documented.
Well, it wasn't open, was it? I mean,
it was actually.
A person couldn't have got through that door.
Okay. They could have.
Not without forcing it.
Correct. That's how they got in when we've investigated the burglary.
Now, did you report that you had to, write in your report, that you had to push the door open and that you nudged it open?
I would have to check my report, but I believe that's pretty close.
Is that what, well, or did you say that in your deposition?
I don't recall.
Did you ever strike the door with your hand?
Yes, sir, I did.
How many times did you strike the door with your hand?
I was on the body cam at least once or twice, but that was because it was jammed shut.
Did you strike the door with your fist?
I hit the door with my fist, yes, sir.
How many times did you strike the door with your fist?
It was on the body cam, sir. I do not know.
More than once?
I do not know.
Did you kick the door with your foot?
I don't recall.
Could you have kicked the door more than once?
I do not recall.
Did you attempt to turn the doorknob to open the door?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It didn't work, did it?
No, it moved. It twisted completely.
But that didn't open the door, did it?
Correct, because it was jammed shut because it was damaged from the burglary.
At any time, did you believe that the door might be locked?
No, not, I mean, it could have been, but that's what I was trying to figure out.
And Officer Snyder also thought that it might be locked. You can answer the question, officer.
Can you repeat it?
Certainly. Sergeant, I hope I'm getting his is it Sergeant?
Lieutenant Snyder.
Lieutenant Snyder,
Yes, sir.
thank you, sir, also thought the door might be locked.
You'd have to ask him, sir.
Well, he said it might. He asked on the body cam video that it might be locked.
Okay.
Is that correct or incorrect?
Whatever the body cam shows is correct.
Was the door moving free from the door jamb?
On its own, no. It was jammed. That's why I had to apply force to get it open.
How many times did you attempt to open the door?
As you can see on the body cam, several.
Okay. Why did it take more than one time to open a door that you reported to be open?
Because it was a jammed door, because it had been damaged when the burglary occurred, and we had to make sure it was safe, so we had to go in and do a protective sweep.
I'd like you to look at the body cam footage, which is Exhibit 18. No, that would be Respondent's Exhibit. Oh, it would be Respondent's Exhibit 18. Yes, thank you.
We need to stop this right now. We've got unredacted images of people that these are criminal investigations. We cannot, these are images that she stole from the police department and she's playing them before you today. I have given her redacted versions and those are the versions that she needs to use.
Your Honor, for starters, this investigation is over. No charges were filed. The investigation is complete, so any kind of investigatory privilege does not apply to this body camera. And second, Joy Phillips needs to play this entire video in order to make her case.
I provided the entire video redacted. Also, there are charges pending for leaving the scene against one of the suspects. So it is incorrect to state that this is inactive.
Your Honor, no burglary charges have been filed. There are charges pending regarding the two men who drove off in the Cadillac and at high speed and then crashed it. The burglary investigation, which this depicts, is over. No charges were filed in the burglary.
This lady was involved in the crash.
He's a witness to it?
Yes, she was following the vehicle when it crashed.
That's what we're going to see if it runs.
No, but I'm saying that she's part of that active investigation that's currently charged and pending. Someone is currently facing charges for things that this involves.
And this person who might be a witness would be identified on the pictures? Is that what you're saying? I don't understand.
Yes, she is in this video that they're going to play. And the thing is, they have the entire redacted version that they can play for us. There's no reason for them to be playing unredacted versions that they stole from us.
Your Honor, parts of the redacted video are muted. Under the principle of the completeness, we're entitled to show the full video. Again, this is not Amanda Smith is not one of the defendants.
We need to not be saying those names out loud. These are people who are everyday citizens. They don't work for the police department. They don't deserve to be outed in public.
He's been referred to by name previously. Objections overruled. Oh, you can go ahead and play.
I think it was an orange shirt, and then the other one was a white guy. He had, like I wasn't even paying attention.
Describe those guys again.
Okay, thank you. Alright, I can give zero fucks about paramedics.
Hey.
The one guy, he was either mixed or black, because he was kind of light-skinned, but not too light. Had,
Hold on. Light-skinned afro.
Yeah.
Are these the ones from the gold car?
Yep. Yeah, because he was pulling out of the alley, and the dude came out from behind the trailer, and they tried to say they were coming from the house. I'm like, motherfucker, I just watched you come off my property. And then he floored it, and I followed him, and I was going to call him.
What was the white guy? What do you look like? Hold on.
He had shorter buzzed hair.
Yeah, same guy.
Okay. But I followed him, trying to get the license plate, because I tried to call your phone, and then that's when his dumb ass flipped the car.
Then you said the white now. What do you look like?
Buzzed hair. It was either dirty blonde or blonde. He looked like a fucking crackhead. I was not even paying attention to clothes.
What was he wearing?
He had to have been wearing a t-shirt, but it looked like he had some kind of vest or something. But he had 2 bags of tools. And I don't know if those his or came from here.
Probably here.
Jesus Christ.
What was the white guy wearing? What color shirt?
I think it was like a white with a design or a dirty white with a design. Well, two partners broke into the bar and just flipped their fucking car. So they broke into the bar again, but they
478, 440, 60.
because I followed them. They're going down there to get them now. Since they literally
My victim advised they're missing tools from this business. If you could advise if you see them.
Well, I'll probably have to go back down there and identify him. But the officer that originally took the first report was the reason why I came down here because he called me and let me know somebody was here. And they broke into the fucking garage door. I don't know, I gotta look at it. But, yeah. It's a gold Cadillac, kind of like the one Bill drives.
I think we're, that's enough. Thank you. Officer, do you recognize that as your body cam footage?
Yes, sir, that's me.
Oh, there. Amanda Smith didn't tell you that there had been forced entry before you started searching, did you? Did she?
I don't believe so, no.
So she didn't see, and she didn't tell you that she saw the two men from the Cadillac inside the building.
Oh,
did
that's
she?
correct, sir.
Okay. And she didn't tell you that they stole anything.
She did not say that.
Okay. And she didn't tell you that there had been forced entry.
She didn't find the forced entry, I did.
And you advised that items had been stolen, but you didn't actually know that at the time, did you?
We could see items sitting through the front door and the garage door. You could see items sitting out that weren't there before with the trunk open and it backed up to the car and the items sitting inside the garage. It was a indication that something was taken.
Right. In fact, those items just may have been staged to be stolen, but they weren't stolen.
Correct.
Was the metal skull, the bottle of Jim Beam, and the signed sports memorabilia recovered from the Cadillac?
I do not know, sir.
Okay. Did you search the Cadillac?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you observe the condition of the Cadillac after the crash?
Yes, I went to the crash scene after I was done with the burglary.
Okay. It was totaled, wasn't it?
It was very, very damaged, yes, sir.
And could you see? And the windows were blown out and the trunk was buckled, weren't they?
The trunk was what?
Buckled.
I don't remember. I remember it was just extensively damaged. The windows, I don't remember if they were blown out, but they very well could have been. And the trunk was damaged in a way where we could not open it. But again, we weren't going to open it. That's what we needed a search warrant for.
Could you see inside the trunk?
I don't recall if I could or not.
Is it lawful to conduct an inventory check of a vehicle that is being towed?
We have rights under the law to do inventories, yes, sir.
Why didn't the officers conduct an inventory of the Cadillac prior to towing it?
With the sensitive nature of the crime being a burglary and a felony, we felt it more appropriate to do a search warrant for that vehicle rather than an inventory search, as an inventory search is more of a community caretaking responsibility than an actual lawful one, which is why we want the search warrant and we seize the car.
But you didn't have proof that a burglary had happened, did you?
No, but we had a car that was on scene. We had forced entry indicating a burglary, so we had a reasonable expectation to seize that car, that it was involved in the crime, and that we needed a search warrant, which is why Detective Phillips was called.
Had you advised anyone that the trunk of the Cadillac was open?
I don't recall who I told. I'm sure I told somebody. It's documented in my narrative. I'm sure that's information I would have relayed, but I do not recall if I did relay that to anybody.
There were no surveillance cameras of the interior of the building, were there?
Interior?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe there were.
Or the exterior.
I don't think we found any surveillance cameras on property.
And you didn't have any witnesses who observed the gentleman inside the building.
That's correct, sir. We did not have witnesses.
And you didn't locate any of the missing property at the scene of the accident, did you?
I do not recall if we did at the scene. I don't believe so, but that would be in my report, sir.
Did you document any of the damaged front door in photographs?
I believe I took, I was an evidence technician at the time, which means I would process crime scenes, including burglaries. I believe I documented in my narrative, I took photos, so I'm sure there are photos of that building.
Okay. You didn't collect any fingerprints, though, did you?
Fingerprints are very hard to collect. A lot of times we will brush for them, take good photographs of them. We send the photographs to the state. As far as lifting those, that is much more difficult, much more refined skill, and that's not done as often anymore. So no, I don't believe I collected any fingerprints, sir.
Did you photograph any other broken door windows besides the plexiglass inside the damaged door?
I don't know without looking at my photographs, sir.
Did you photograph any recovered stolen property?
I believe there was a stolen vehicle inside the garage portion that we first made entry into from a previous burglary. I documented in my report that I took photographs for that, as well as the property that was staged just inside the door. I took photographs of that as well.
Okay. Did you photograph anything else?
At the scene where the car was crashed, I took some pictures of some property we collected that was on the ground that we had suspected was ejected from the car.
If your body cam footage shows that you shut off your camera prior to your interview with the owner's daughter, and that it did not capture her account of what was stolen, would that be accurate?
I have no idea. Whatever's on my body cam is what's on my body cam. I don't remember turning it off.
Now, department policy requires that you record all your interactions with members of the community, doesn't it?
It requires that you record when you are on a call for service and interacting with the public.
And you were on call for service when you interviewed the owner's daughter?
When I was on scene, I was on a call for service. Yes, sir.
Why didn't you record that interview?
I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't say whether I did or did not.
Do you know if that interview has been produced to me and to Joy Phillips?
I have no idea.
Did you receive any reprimand for violating policy 442 or 422 by not recording your interview with the owner's daughter?
I'm going to object at this point. This is totally irrelevant to the charging letter and whether or not Joy lied.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, sir.
Now, it's true, isn't it, that you had not been to the property for 2 or 3 weeks prior to the incident that we saw today?
You'd have to check with dispatch on that. I know we were making regular area checks, and I took a burglary report, I want to say within a week. I don't remember the exact time frame, but within a week I was there, and then we were doing area checks, which means we just drive by the building, we walk the property, we make sure there's no damage to any of the doors, make sure that a crime hasn't occurred since the last time we were out there. And I recall being out there, I just don't remember exactly when.
Didn't you tell me in your deposition that you had not been there for 2 to 3 weeks?
I don't remember saying that in that way, sir.
During the incident, you recovered a cell phone, didn't you?
I believe I documented that, yes, sir.
Where was the cell phone located?
I believe it was in the backyard of where the car crashed. It hit a house, and I believe it was in the backyard, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. If I were to tell you that in your report you state that the cell phone was located in the backyard of 1203 Fulton Street, would that be accurate?
If that's what's in my report, yes, sir.
Was the car accident reported to be located at 1199 Fulton Street?
I don't remember exactly the location. I just remember it was within a few blocks of the original scene.
Do you need to see the report, sir? Would that
tell you where it is?
Yes.
Sure.
Sir. I'm going to hand the witness this report simply for, it is exhibit number 9, but I'm providing it mainly to refresh his recollection.
Fine.
You want this back, sir?
Yes, please, officer.
Thank you.
Has your recollection been refreshed?
I didn't write
officer?
that report, sir, but the report states it was Pleasant and Fulton.
So that would be approximately 1199 Fulton Street.
If that's what that says, I'm sure, but it was Pleasant and Fulton.
Can counsel provide me with a copy of whatever it is he's talking about?
It's the crash report from that incident, or the RMS report.
Was the incident was in the front yard, wasn't it? I mean, the car came to a stop at the front yard of that house.
To the best of my recollection, yes, I believe it was in the front yard.
In
Yes,
fact, it flipped over.
I believe so, yes, sir.
How many cases did you connect to this incident?
I never did get the final number, but there were more than one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, when you say the incident, do you mean that business, 1125 West Beardsley, or the car crash?
The crash.
I don't know.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, sir, the business.
I know there was more than one burglary. I had investigated, I believe, two myself. I know that there were other officers out there. I don't know exactly how many.
Is it true that there were only one or two other cases and that one of those was in reference to recovering a stolen car from inside 1125 West Beardsley?
I believe, like I just stated, there were several others, yes.
So everything leading up to the car crash was just speculation that a burglary occurred and not actual proof.
We were investigating. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we were doing.
You know, no one was charged with burglary, were they?
You stating it to them just a minute ago was the first I've heard of it. I never did follow up.
You have no awareness that criminal charges?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
All right. Thank you, officer.
Thank you, sir.
Before you start, Ms. Rivera, how long do you think you'll be?
I only have a couple, 4 questions here written down.
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you apply force to open your bedroom door in the morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us how much force would be required to force open a locked metal door?
A locked metal door, if it's secured, it would take quite a bit of force. We have to force doors sometimes. We have sledgehammers and crowbars for that. Wooden doors are obviously a lot easier to do than metal doors. Metal doors are quite difficult to move and take quite a bit of force to open.
Ultimately, did you determine the door was unlocked?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you tell the owner that you were going to do a check of the building prior to doing it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she respond to you, okay, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, no further questions.
Officer, you advised that the door was open, didn't you?
To who and when?
In your report and in your deposition?
Yeah, I saw an open door. Yes, sir, that is correct in my report. It would be the overhead door where the Cadillac was backed up to. That was the open door I was referencing.
But you didn't take any photographs of that door, did you?
It was closed when I was on scene taking photographs. That's correct, sir. That was just what I saw when I drove by.
No further questions. Thank you, sir.
Any questions from any commissioner? Thank you, Sergeant VanScoik. Appreciate your testimony here. Any recall for him potential?
Not for myself.
Potentially, we could call Sergeant VanScoik in our case, Your Honor.
At this point, then, you're free to go or free to stay. You heard what counsel said. Please be available if you're needed.
I will do my best. I've got my kids today, so I'll do what I can.
Okay. Oh, it would not be today.
Oh, okay. I have training all day tomorrow, so I'll be around. Do I need to sign into this form? Okay. Ms. Rivera, you want to?
Yes, at this time, I would move.
Excuse me. At this point, I know what the schedule calls for, but due to need, we're going to have to take an early break rather than the 10:30 plus break. So we'll recess now for 15 minutes sharp. We'll resume at 10:30.